Hi, everyone, and welcome to the third and last of our drone webinar. We are now at 6 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for being here tonight. As usual, we start with this slide here that you can see on your screen. If you don't have Fusion downloaded yet, please do it now, because this is going to be a kind of a follow me webinar. You're going to be following step by step what you see on your screen. So you can go to autodesk.com/workshop and download Fusion right away. So please do that as soon as you can. Also, I need to let you know that this webinar is being recorded. So in case you guys, disclaimer here. So full disclaimer. For the ones who are joining us for the first time tonight, I would like to introduce myself, and tonight you can see me. My name is Fabiola Clayton. Here at Autodesk, everybody calls me Fab, so that's totally fine. I'm an education program manager with Autodesk. I have a degree in architecture and urban design from University of São Paulo in Brazil, and hence, my accent here. I work from my home office in Indiana. Autodesk is located in California, as you know, but I'm here in Indiana. I have a specialization in education in pedagogy for higher learning, so education for adults, basically, and a master's degree, which was also interdisciplinary study between education and how people learn and understand space. So Fusion is perfect for that because it's such a great tool to manipulate objects in space, right? So it really goes with the subject of my master's degree and my study. So I fell in love with Fusion right away. After this, if you guys have any questions, you can see my email there on your screen. It's fab.clayton@autodesk.com. I'm going to repeat that at the end of the webinar in case you guys have any questions. Also, I would like to give some credit to the designer of the drone, and it's this gentleman here on your screen that you can see the picture. His name is Eli Delia. He is the owner of Eagle Metrics in California. He's an Autodesk Expert Elite member. You have the website for his company there. And he designs and builds drones, and he also does service with drones for crop management, so agriculture and other services. And he loves, his passion is to race drones. So he has some great weekend designs on his website, and he kindly allow us to use the basic model for his drone for this, but hopefully with this webinar, you're going to be able to design your own drone, so it's going to have your personality. So not two drones are going to be the same after this, hopefully. The other thing I need you guys to do before we really start is go to this link in there, autodesk.box.com. I know it's a little bit long, but please be patient if you have not done it yet, because we did send you guys that by email about some files you're going to need to download for tonight or today, depending on where you are. And that's in case you haven't finished the drone from the other webinars for the number 1 and 2. If you had finished, then you just need to use your own. If you're just joining us tonight, then you don't need to panic. Just download these drones there, so you can get right started from the point where we are. The other thing is, I have the images there on the screen for you to see. So to your left is the plates, right? The structure for the drone, and you see 3 planes with shapes, and that's to create the loft. We did that last time. And then on your right is the fuselage completed. We almost kind of finished. I'm going to give a brief refresher for that tonight. So it's important that you have that. Another important thing for you to download is the instructions manual, and you see the picture there on your screen. Not only for tonight so much, but for future reference. Tonight I will be referring to this instruction manual and saying, for example, please go to page, as you see on your screen, page 3, step number 3, that's what I'm doing right now. So this way, in case you get lost, in case you get behind, you can jump right back in and see exactly which part we are doing right now. And also after the webinar, you can use this manual to do step by step and redesign this if needed, okay? So I want to make sure you guys have that. So Tonight, we're going to be talking about how to finish the fuselage that either we did on step number 1 and 2, or you're going to finish the one that you guys did it yourselves. Either way is fine. We're going to work with some material selection. We're going to work on the model properties and rendering, which is one of my favorite things to do in Fusion. We're going to be talking a little bit about joints, not a lot because there's not a lot of movable parts per se, you know, on the drone. In case you missed the other two, you can go to our YouTube channel, Autodesk Education YouTube channel. The link is there on your screen. And to find this webinar is easy, like I did it the other day. Just enter drone webinar search. That's it. That's the first one that is going to show up. And I'm going to keep repeating the link on the bottom, the link that you need to download the files, right? You see Autodesk. So don't freak out if I skip slides and you think you have to write it down super quick. I'm going to keep repeating that so you have enough time to download the files you need for tonight, okay? So how to participate? Important, the same thing we did before. It's a step-by-step. Try to follow me as I do things. If you got behind, no problem. Like I said, I'm going to be referring to the number on the instruction manual. If you have questions, I have Lucas joining us tonight from my team, and you have this little thing on your GoToWebinar that says questions. Type questions away, and Lucas can help you out if there is any specific questions, because I cannot really stop and answer everybody because we have a lot of people attending tonight. At the end, we're going to send you a survey, and please answer that because it helps us make these webinars better and more, you know, for what you guys actually want to know. And talking about surveys, I have a question to all of you. I'm going to try to send a poll here. Let me know if that works. I would like to know how many of people attending tonight are students. So, whoops, I got out here. Okay. So please let me know how many of you are students, educators. So this way I can kind of, you know, make it more fit for our audience tonight. So I see here we are going numbers. Majority of the people tonight, I'm going to say 75, it's changing. So 80% is student or educator. Yes, thank you guys. I appreciate it. That helps me a lot. Appreciate it. So let's do a quick recap of what we did before. I'm going to turn my face off a little bit for a little bit so we do this video. So I did a speed up video of what we did last time. So to refresh your memory here, okay, this is 2.5 times faster. That's if you downloaded that one with the loft. How can you now complete into the loft? So you're gonna go into the scope environment, you're gonna select those shapes. We're gonna change that, you know, how many faces we have to make it a little bit simpler there for you. And then we're gonna delete half because the drone is completely symmetrical. So it makes no sense for you to be doing everything twice. You know, you can just draw everything once. We're gonna create a cylinder here. Fusion helps you find the center really easy. You see that dotted line is the center. Then we're gonna change that to 3 faces and 15 millimeters in height. And then you have your cylinder there. So I just want, we did that last time. It's just a quick recap in case you download that file to work tonight. Also, after we did that last time, we did the bridge command. So we connected the cylinders of the motors with the body of the drone and the boom, right? That's, you know, Eli was telling me that's what it's called the boom. And I'm also gonna play this for you guys as a quick video speed up because we did it last time, okay? So here you see the 2 cylinders, and I'm gonna delete 3 faces on one side to create the bridge. You need to have the same number of faces on both sides to use the bridge command, or multiples. And I don't have it. See, I only have 2. I cannot delete the whole thing. So I'm gonna right click on the edge, insert edge, right click again, I insert only one edge, I move it around. So now I have 3, doesn't need to be symmetrical. Same thing here, insert edge, repeat, right click repeats the last command you have. It's super quick. I'm gonna delete those 3, right, to create an opening for to protect our booms, which are these arms that hold the motor of the drone. And that's it. You select one side on the dialog that opens, asks you to select the second side there where it says side 1, side 2. Double click to select the whole thing, and then you have it, the both sides, okay? So I want to make sure everybody is good with that, and please, if you have any questions, feel free to put in there on the, and it's all, if you can send to everybody, because sometimes more than one person has the same question you have, so this way everybody can understand there. So now let's go to our live demo. Let's really look here at what we are doing with, we're gonna create, what we're gonna do now, we're gonna close the bottom of the cylinder, right, that we created, so to protect the engine here. So I hope everybody can see my screen. Is everybody okay there? I want to make sure everybody's fine. If you have any comments, any questions, let me know. So what we're going to do now is we're going to close that. So we're going to close, as you can see, I use the fill hole command, which is there inside the modify that you have in there. I'm going to do the same only in this two. I don't need to do the other side. Like I said, I created a symmetry here. And this symmetry is going to make it possible for me to just copy that, so I don't have to do this twice. So double click on the edge to select the whole circle edge. And now you see I closed this whole thing. Now what you can do, we can turn back on the components. So we see if this is fin, you know, it is okay, if it's protecting the motors of my drone, and it's not. So I'm going to double click in that, right click to edit form, to pull this up to a height that I like. And I'm not using any dimensions to not make things more complicated today, to just make it really easy. You could enter specific dimensions. I'm not. I'm going to select the right view to see if I like it, if it's protecting my motors as it should, and it still allows air to go through. So I like what I see so far. You know, we can use the orbit command to rotate it around. Just press the shift and the scroll button of your mouse. And now this is the whole area that I'm going to mirror, okay? I just want to highlight this so you know what we are mirroring. And I just go into the mirror command. I select this body, right? And now I have to select which plane is that I'm going to make the mirror command. It could be a surface, doesn't need to be a plane, but it's the vertical plane, right? And sometimes, as you can see, it's hard to select here, so I'm going to cancel and get closer. Sorry, guys. Symmetry, duplicate. I'm going to go closer here, trying to find that the plane there is hidden here. See that one? Yes. So that's the vertical plane I wanted. I got it. And now I have the two sides. But you see the top is not connected. We need to connect this top. So we're going to use the modify, and we're going to use the merge edge to connect these two. I select one side, double clicking, then I select the other side, double click, and this should be a green line. Okay, we got a green line. A green line is good. It means they are connected. I'm going to just right click to repeat the same command, choose these two sides, say okay, and I'm good here. So now my model is completely connected. I like what I see now. I'm going to turn that thing back on to see if a battery fits, right? And as you can see, the battery is kind of too tall for the fuselage creator. So I'm going to select this face, and you see the other one is yellow because there's a symmetry here, right? So I don't need to select all four. I'm going to edit the form. If you remember from last time, we're going to use that a lot. And you see the arrows that allow us to control the shape. So now I'm protecting my battery. I like it. I'm going to say okay. And now I'm going to I want to close this a little bit more. It's too open, and I want to close more towards my camera. I'm changing the transform mode to scale because I want to change the scale. So now I'm going to make some mistakes in here on purpose, because I want to make sure you guys don't panic when you are doing that. There's always a way to undo. There's always a way to figure things out. Okay, so as you can see, I just right click, edit. I'm on the scale mode. Okay, it's not doing what I want. I switch the mode here. to allow me more flexibility. And if I move up and down to see what happens to my shape, I can see if I like it or not. If I press the Option or Alt key of your keyboard, it creates new faces as you are stretching this out. So that's one cool feature that I had not talked about before. If you just press there, you create new faces. So while you are clicking with your mouse button, pressing the Alt or Option key in your keyboard. But I don't like it, so I can just undo it, right? So as quickly as that, just undo that form. So the sculpt mode is exactly what it says, it's a sculpture. So you have to play with it until you can find a shape you actually like. So let's try this again. Right click, edit form. I'm gonna mess with the scale again to see if I find a shape I like. And then now I'm going to move in another direction, right? So it has that 360, hey, it's the name of the software, 360 degrees here that I can play with. I'm switching again to scale because I want to make this smaller without moving it from the place it actually is. So see here, I'm making this smaller. And I'm going to allow a lot of time because I know you guys are playing with me at the same time there on your own model. So I want to allow a lot of time here for you guys to hopefully find the shape you like. I need to create more faces because I want this to kind of curve inwards to be more aerodynamic. So I'm going to still use that option where I'm going to be clicking the Alt Option key on my keyboard along with the left key of my mouse to create new faces, right? So I'm creating new faces as I'm doing this. And I'm rotating to help me visualize how do I like this or how I do not like this. So hopefully everybody is there. And now the poll was closed, by the way. We have 80% students are educators, so thank you guys. So I'm repeating what I have done before here so you guys can see. I'm not going to use any specific dimensions because this is free-form designing right here. And I'm going to close a little bit around my camera. You know, I want to protect this camera from crashes, which happens a lot in drones, or any material flying through it. So I'm liking this a little bit better, but it has too many faces. So I'm going to delete some of these lines, you know, because I think it's just too many. It's going to make complicated when I'm finishing this form. I want to go a little bit more inward. So I'm going to, you know, create a little one more there. One more face. As you can see, that's now a different face. But I'm going to delete these lines here and see what happens, right? If it doesn't work, undo. That's it, you have an undo button. So let me delete this line here. And I like this shape better, but this is still not, doesn't have the beautiful curve I was looking for. I'm gonna delete that one as well. Oh, I like that now. So I like that a lot. I'm gonna keep this. This is a keeper. I like that shape. So, you know, I'm using again the pen just by clicking and holding with my mouse. But now I have to find an opening here for this antenna, right? The antenna is sticking through the fuselage. So I'm just going to insert an edge here. So you click, I change from single to both sides, click OK, and I have created two edges here. You can position them better. And I want to delete this. As you see, the yellow one is deleted as well. Just click the delete button on your mouse. And I can select this and still start playing with edit form and see what happens. It's moving the whole thing, and I don't want to change where the edge ends, so I'm not going to do this. I'm going to just move that one little segment there. And then a point, you can move a point only in Fusion, and that's really, really useful here. I don't need to move a whole surface. I just want to, you know, elevate the end there a little bit more. So I'm going to look around, see if I find anything I don't like lines that I don't need, like that one. They really are not doing anything for me, so I can just delete it, make it as simple as possible. Later you can render this, you know, and for each one of you, this is going to be different depending on how you created your form. And you can delete lines and see what happens. So for example, you know, that line here is kind of a funny curve. I don't like it. I'm going to delete it. Didn't do anything. So chances are it's a okay line. I'm gonna undo this and just keep it. So look around. I'm not gonna mess with the wires there on the side. We don't have time to do everything today, but it's just for you guys to get the idea. You got the idea, and you know, I'm not gonna move with the wires that you see sticking out of the fuselage there, that yellow and blue that are sticking out. So let's finish form now. So we have to tell the software that that's it, that we are done working on our form. So hopefully everybody's okay here. I don't see any questions showing up. So hopefully everybody's fine here. So I'm liking my form. Yes, a final inspection here. I like what I see. So if everybody is okay, I want to make sure you know what this is. I know that doing that camera part was kind of tricky. So this is a page out of the instruction manual, so you guys know where I was. So I was on page 37, step 8, which was fine-tuning that T-spline to protect our camera. And here are the steps that you guys just saw. That's something we didn't do last time, so that's why I took more time doing this and showing you how you guys can follow that yourselves, okay? And if you downloaded the manual, you can always go back and do this. I want to allow enough time for everybody to do this. So good. So now let's keep moving here and go into the rendering space. And hopefully you guys can all see me here. I don't know, I got, make sure I have everything corrected and ready to go. So now what we have to do is, as you know, when we finish form, the fuselage doesn't have any thickness per se, right? It's just a graphic representation of what this actual material would be. But if you look closely, there is no thickness. So I need to add thickness here. Just go to create thicken, and I select the faces that I want to thicken here. So I'm just going to do 1 millimeter. And you can select the side, the direction 1, or the, you know, that's going inwards or outwards. I'm going inwards. It doesn't really matter at this point, but I'm going inwards. I have enough clearance there that I could do that. And now you can actually see a thickness there. So that makes it more realistic. You have to do that if you're going to do simulations, for example, stress tests or anything that Fusion can do for you. You have to represent this as closer to reality as you can if you're going to do some type of simulation or stress analysis, okay? Now, I promised to show you the joint command, and you have 2 types of joints in Fusion. You know, you can have a joint to move things, or as build joints if things are already on the place they should be, and that's the one we're going to use today. So I want to use the as-built joints to make this blade turn around. So I select that, and I'm going to make a revolute here to make it rotate, just to show you what it can do. And I'm clicking this other motor as a reference. As you can see here, when it shows the round circle, is because that's where I select the position of where the reference for these 2 turns. So I can just play there and animates that feature. So I just want you to see how easy it is to create joints in Fusion. And just to show you another type of joint, I'm gonna turn the components back on, and you know, I'm gonna hide the fuselage for a little bit. And just for the sake of demonstration here, let's pretend that I wanna move the battery, okay? I wanna make it slide up and down to select a better placement for it and where the center of gravity of my drone would be. Same thing, you go here on assemble, I'm in model environment, right? I'm not on scoped environment. And then you can select the slider, and then I have to select a reference for the slider. So I'm gonna turn that plate back on because I don't have a horizontal reference, and I turn it on. I'm gonna select it, you know, the top plate here, and then where is the reference, and I select that corner there to make it slide. So just so you guys see how easy it is, I'm not even messing with the wires on the back or anything like that, just for demonstration. In case you design a machine, or you design a bicycle or something with moving parts, and you can see how that's gonna go before you actually finish everything. So just to show you how cool it is, I'm gonna turn the fuselage back on, and now we can go into our render environment, which it is the moment everybody's waiting for. It is to actually render this. And you can see these 4 views that appear here. They appear automatically. If you double click on them, you can then download them, you can save them here on these buttons on the top, right? So you can click on that, download as different types of image files, or you can share that to your Fusion gallery or A360. So this is super handy. It works like a photography. You can change here saturation, color, lighting. We're not gonna do that right now, but just so you know, it's available to you and all the views are there that you created. And of course you can create your own view. We're gonna do that as well. So here we're gonna click on appearance, which looks like this beach ball on the top there. And here all the materials I played with before, but if you see materials generic like this, just delete them. They come because they came from that engine that we imported from another file. We didn't design that in Fusion. We imported maybe from another software or from the provider of the components. They made it possible, so delete them because we're not going to mess with them, and it might generate an error message when it's time to render. So let's select a material. Let's suppose we want to make our body of carbon fiber, but I like the twill, but I don't have it. I'll just click the download button here a little bit, and then I'm going to just drag. It's as simple as that. Just drag to the area where you want the material to be, and then you see it shows the appearance immediately. But of course, I'm not going to make this in carbon fiber. You know, I don't have the material here, so I'm just going to choose some type of plastic, and I'm going to use Autodesk colors. So I'm going to choose, you know, the blue-green Autodesk colors here. So I'm just going to get a glossy plastic here. And it looks super good. I like how it looks. And here it selected the whole body. But let's suppose if I wanted to change just one of the faces, right? So you just select faces there. You click on the face you want to change. And you do the same thing. You just drag the material, and I got yellow because it matches the blades, and I like that. And then it looks, you know, that's it. You can change different faces, different colors. Your whole fuselage is made of many, many different faces, as you can tell. So, you know, if you double click there on each material that you chose, you can also change the characteristics of each material, and it shows you what they are. Let's suppose I don't like this yellow. You know, the Autodesk logo has a more greenish blue. So let's suppose I want to make this a more green, lighter green. You can just slide this until you find a color you like. So this greenish blue here, kind of more like, and I can save this to use later. So I just need to save it as another name. So I'm going to save this as aqua, and done, and it's going to appear on the side here where the materials I have used so far were. So you see that here, and my yellow is still there. Is it still saved, right? I don't have to worry that I save on top of the yellow. I'm putting an opaque here, so you see the difference in lightning. See how shiny this is, and this other one is not shiny. But I'm going to go back to glossy. I really like the glossy. So I'm going to go back to glossy here. And I'm going to close this, this part. So another thing I would like to do is just to show a little bit more things we can do is to do a decal. So let's suppose I want to add a logo, right? So I just select the face, I want to add the logo, and I have to select the image. I'm going to add the Autodesk logo to that face in there. Decal is super cool to personalize your drawing. And then once it's in the image, you can adjust. Like in my case, I need to rotate this a little bit to 90 degrees. I mean, you can enter a degree there on the Z angle. I didn't, I just did by hand, but you could enter a specific angle if that's needed. And then you use like the edit form, right? You change the scale here. You just click on it, change the position. I like how it wraps around the shape. Doesn't matter if it's not a flat shape. It follows the shape completely, and that's super cool. So just click OK once you like it, and now you see how my decal with the logo looks super cool on my drone. Also, I'm gonna go back into the appearance here because I want to change some more material, some more faces, just to show some other cool things you can do with the rendering. So let's suppose I press Shift and I select the bottom of the motors and I want to make this more resistant. So I want some kind of rubber, but I don't see rubber there. So you can easily search for material in the library by just typing in there, clicking search, and then you see there I have 5 times that rubber is mentioned here. And I can again choose one and drag, right? But I don't see like a rubber with texture, and I would really like this to have polka dots. So I can search, like, do I have polka dots anywhere? And sure enough, yes, I have one there. I'm gonna drag the plastic texture polka dots, and you see it goes to all 4. Because I had select them together, I automatically chose the material for all 4. And you see my fun polka dots there. Now I'm happy. If you want to change the characteristics of the polka dot, you can do the same thing just there in your area for this design. You can double click and edit the same way we added colors before. And you can edit the characteristics of any texture you want to put into Fusion. So in case I want to change the characteristics of that polka dot, I can go there. Let me double click on it. Let me find it. There it is. And you can see here I can change the rotation. On this case, it doesn't change too much because it's round, but the scale, see, I can have very texture, not a lot of texture, or make the polka dots really big. The roughness of the material, and even the reflectance, which it is how much this shines, how much this reflects light, right? And I think that gives us a lot of opportunity to present our projects really nicely. I can save this one again, like I did with the colors, as something else, and just be done and save my newly scaled polka dots, okay? So hopefully everybody's following me here. I'm gonna click on the home page to go to my view, and you see I'm on a gray environment, right? Is the standard background here is the gray. So I want to change that. So I'm going to go in the scene settings, which is that little lamp on the top of there. And my brightness can be changed as well. Daylight is about, 100, 1,000 lux is in lux. So daylight is about 100,000 lux or something. An office is about 800. So depending on when your object is going to be, you can change that. The background is set to solid color. I can change focal length as well. I can change the exposure. And if you are worried, you can always just restore to the default if you think you changed too much to something crazy. And here, I'm going to change. I like, the field environment. In some other environments, I can attach custom environments. If you have a picture of the place this is going to be, you can bring it in. I'm bringing the field, and it's going to see nothing happen. And nothing happened because of my settings, I was in solid color. So make sure there you change it to environment, and sure enough, now you see that model on the environment I had selected, and you can move this around, using your scroll button of your mouse, and while pressing Shift, you do the orbit, and you can orbit to make it more realistic, to make it look like flying. So that's options you have here, like position. I can even rotate that within the drawing, within the picture, to make this look like, more realistic, or going to the direction I want this to go. And the shade, it looks kind of too close to me, so it doesn't make me look like flying. So I can add a specific height if this was, will be at 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 feet, whatever, 4 feet from the ground. Or I can just move there and try to find one that I think is realistic for my shade, to make it look like my drone is flying. I also like this light sometimes, depending on what you present. On the case of the drone, that was good. But the light is also very good if you're presenting one new product. I don't know, you're designing a lamp, or you're designing something that's going to be on a showroom, and you don't want a lot of background noise. So you can just switch to something as simple as this skylight. That is the light coming from the top. So if you rotate it around, you can see that it is a little bit of a gradient there. And another one I like a lot is one that looks like an office, right? It has a grid. So it reminds me of the light of a fluorescent light of office, because you can see on the blades that the reflection, like it's something coming from the top on the blades. So I like that when you are presenting a product that you design, and you don't want a lot of interference. But because it's a drone and its front is flying, I'm changing this to the dry lake bed. So it's doing a reconnaissance mission here on my little drone, or and I like the way this looks a lot. So the shadow makes it look like it is really flying. I like that. Also, now we can render this, right? So you can do an in-canvas render, or you can just capture the image, or you can render in the cloud. So I want to show you guys these options on how you can render this. So let's do a in-canvas render. That will create a rendering locally on your machine. So if you want to just click in there, you're going to see that it's going to do a granulate type of image like this while it's calculating. And you see on the bottom right there that you can pause, and it says the elapsed time and how much interactions it's going to need and how much time it's going to. The good thing, you can pause. So when it pauses, the icon there changes, and I can just render this image right there as it is, the image that you see on your screen. So if you don't want to wait to just save as something, you can save on your computer, or you can save on the Team Hub that you have access, inside a folder that we create. You can save documents into your Team Hub. Doesn't need to be Fusion files. You can save anything into your Team Hub. Or I can press play again if I want to wait a little bit. And I'm going to zoom this here so you can see more what's happening, right? The granulate, and it's working on it. But I'm not going to do this now. I'm not going to wait, but I can just save this image as it is, right? Again, just save as. And then that's it. Now let's do a cloud rendering. So when you press the teapot, you can do rendering with more settings. You can do local, which is going to do, again, or you can do the cloud renderer, which will be doing that while you are, you can be working on something else on Fusion, you can be working on something else on your computer. You can change the render quality, etc. It gives you an idea of the queue time that is going to take to render with this type of resolution that I have chosen. So that's also a cool feature there for me, that I can select the quality, right? So if I change, it's going to change the time there. Or not. Maybe right now, it's becoming pretty standard because I don't have a lot of difference really, from 0.6 to point whatever, 8.4 megapixel. The same here for printing. You can custom as well the image size and everything else. So it gives you a lot of options for rendering. I just want to show you guys that. Make sure you know this is this is the important feature that you have there, because you want to be able to show this in another format. Somebody without Fusion be able to see this. And now I'm going to go back to the model workspace, because I want to show you how to 3D print this. So you just click there on, it's super easy. You just click there on the make 3D print, select what you want to print. So in my case, I want to print my fuselage, right? So I'm just gonna keep the refinement to medium, and you can see the triangles, right? And it says the number of triangles that were created to make that 3D print. I download the Print Studio. It's also from Autodesk. In my case here, I have a Dremel, so it's gonna send me to the Dremel window for me to select what I want to do with this model and do all the setups as necessary. For each one of you is going to be different, of course, depending on the 3D printer you're using. So I'm not going to do this right now because, of course, we're not going to be creating a whole 3D file. So I'm just going to go back here and show you a way to create STLs. As a student, a lot of times your teachers ask for STLs. What you can do is to right-click there, go down where it says Save as STL. It's that easy. And then we selected the fuselage, right? We went to the body there on the browser. I kept my resolution to medium. You can change the refinement if you want. And it's as easy as that. You just save in whatever folder you want. You know, I'm not gonna do it, but that's as easy as that. And then you can send to your teachers, or you can use the Team Hub to share files for grading or for whatever else that you guys are doing. A lot of people more and more are using the Team Hub for grading. So I don't see any questions here. I don't know if people are sending privately to Lucas, but then let me go here and let you know, guys, what the next steps are. Can everybody see my screen there? Let me see if I see any questions here, any answers. So the next steps that we have here for you, again, as usual, is to go to the Autodesk Learn Fusion link here that you see on your screen. Let me go back here and turn my camera back on so you guys can see me, but now I don't see my slide. Yay, I see it. Great. So hopefully everybody can see me. In case you have any questions, go to our Design Academy as well, that we have lesson plans for the teachers. We have a lot of projects for students, for you guys to learn Fusion. And the cool thing is that each project tells you how long it's gonna take for you to complete. So you know ahead of time. There are quizzes in there as well. Students out there, please keep going. Join our Student Expert Network at the Design at Autodesk Academy. And participate in our Design for Industry challenges. You know, the picture you see on the bottom there are the past ones. On the Design for Industry challenges, Autodesk partner with some great companies out there. The last one we had was GE Appliances, was Design for Robotics. And before that was Boston Scientific, where we did the Design for Magical Innovation. It's a global competition. It's open to everybody across the world. The next one is coming up, so please, please, please keep an eye. Because they are fast, and they don't last like 2-3 months each. There are prizes, and also there are prizes. Along with the prizes is usually opportunity to talk to somebody from the company, to have a little bit of a virtual mentorship, and the chance to talk to real people who are out there in the company, working in the field. I also want to say, again, if you guys have any questions, you can email me. But I also want to go back to our instruction manual. Let me put this on my screen here so you guys can see. Because I want to tell you, on the instructional manual, the last page, some people had sent me questions since the webinar number 2. And you had sent me questions about, let me do this. Made much easier now for me to bring this to my screen here so you guys can see the Word document. That's what I wanted. A lot of people had asked me, what if I want to build this drone? What should I do? So I talked to Eli, and he sent me his list of resources there. It's on the last page. It has hyperlinks. If you click on them, it's going to open the link of the companies. I want to really disclaimer here, Autodesk does not endorse any company. We do not recommend that you buy from somebody else. Not saying it's not that. It's just a list to really help you find each component. So if you need to buy the motor, if you need to buy the blades, the engine, or whatever parts you need to buy for your drone, the antennas, and if you don't like the shape that this drone is, there are other components where the antenna is not up like this, it's down, so you can have a better aerodynamic if you are building a drone for racing. So this was a list provided by Eli. He was super nice to provide us with all of that. And that's it, guys. And this is the everything we talked about today here explained to you step by step. We have some time to spare for questions. We did it on purpose here for this webinar to finish a little bit early. For the last ones, we kind of went fast and we had no time for questions. If there's anything that you guys would like me to demo again, to show you again slower, I would be more than happy to help you guys with that. I see some questions here. I don't know if Lucas had a chance to answer. So I have a question here. Is that a way to get mass load that might support using tools, mass propeller? Yes, yes. So you have the simulation tools, and I like these questions a lot. One thing that is important to know, and let me put my Fusion here on my screen, is that when you change the appearance, you are not changing the material per se. So when you click here on the body, if you click on properties, and that's what I'm doing now, let me put this here. It says that the material is steel because everything is steel by standard. I just changed the appearance, I didn't change the material. If I want to change the material, let me close this to make my screen bigger. If I want to change the material, I have to go here in physical material. It's going to open this other thing here, right? It looks like the rendering one. It looks like the one we were doing before. And then let's suppose I want to make my drone of ABS plastic. I can drag it to the drone, or I can drag here to the browser. And let me go there. And you see that it changes color and everything, right? Because it's now plastic and I'm not on the render environment. And you can double check, and let me double check that actually everything went fine. I'm going to close this and see if I got the material. If I didn't, I'm going to do it again. I check properties. And you see here that now it shows the material as ABS plastic. It shows the mass, it shows the density, and shows the area. So everything is calculating accordingly. Hopefully that answers the question there. And you see that I still have the colors and everything that I chose, right? Because that was, you know, the appearance. Especially nowadays with so many materials that have one property, but they look like another one, right? So this is really important that in Fusion you have these two characteristics separately. And, and the person said, thank you, you're welcome. Also, if you do simulations, it's important that you have the proper material. So for example, let me see if I can drag a simulation I have done before to show you guys for the Fusion, for the drone. So the other day I was playing with this, the bottom component, because I was talking to Eli and we were talking about how this is too heavy, right? So we were talking about cutting parts out of it to make it lighter. You see that here we did a little hole in it, right? And then we ran a simulation for stress. So just to show you guys what it looks like. So if you can find out what is the force of the motor pulling up, then you can see how this would bend, depending if you use plastic instead of steel. And the cool thing is that it gives you, of course, how much the displacement is happening here. It's exaggerated for graphic purposes, right? It's not showing me but it shows you the displacement that it would happen. And the yellow are the parts that are complicated. I suggest you guys do this. When we first started and we did this drone, we did it with hard corners. I don't know if you guys remember that. The bottom plate had hard corners and we made them round. I don't know if I still have my hard corner ones here. I'm going to open, if you recall, and that was all based on simulation that it was decided to make, Eli decided to make this round. So, you know, to simulate as far as the stress and everything, you can go here into the simulation environment. And then you can say you want to create a new study, right? So here, so I already done that. And then on the material, is still, like I said, is the standard steel. I'm going to leave it there just to show you guys how to do that. And here you have to select the constraints. So I'm going to do unrealistic here because the drone is not constrained anyway. It's not really it's not a static stress because the whole thing is moving. It's just to show you guys how simulation is done, right? So I'm going to select here this side. I'm going to lock this in place. So it shows the little lock. So for example, if you had a shelf and it's locked here, right, and you want to see if that shelf is going to fall, that would be it. So, and I'm going to do that on the other side as well, just to see how, and because I want to leave the rest free. So I'm grabbing this here. And here I would put the load, what the load would be. You know, I'm going to select the surface and you see all the forces showing there going down. You can change that if you don't want to use Newton, if you want to use pounds, you can put pounds instead. And then I would ask to solve this problem. So it's doing here, you know, solving one of my studies. And while it's doing it, it shows me it's doing on the cloud and how long it's going to do the simulation for. In this meantime, I could be working to something else. This one shouldn't take very long because it's a simple part. It's only one part. You know, doesn't have a lot of multiple, and I didn't put a lot of forces and a lot of constraints that are different. But while it's doing that, let me look at another question here. I have, how do I render an animation workspace work together? I don't know if I understand that question though. And Lucas, if you are there, and if you have a better idea what is this question, is you want to do an animation and rendering together, you can render and then create a video.
Yeah, so I put an answer into the questions there. My understanding, and I have not done this myself, but I believe once you complete your animation, you can then go back and render it. The problem is inside of Fusion, you're given, I think it's 16 cloud credits that you can use to render at any given time. So you can use an unlimited number of cloud credits, but in 16 sort of unit intervals, and rendering an animation uses way more than that budget that's available. So my understanding, and again, disclaimer, I'm not 100% sure on this, but you would be able to do it assuming that you bought a whole pile of these cloud credits. I think the default is any static image. So anything that you're going to be doing in the rendering workspace, you should have enough cloud credits for. I think rendering an animation is what puts it way over.
Thank you, Lucas. And again, if that did not answer your question, and I'm not going to mention names here because of privacy concerns, but I know who, you know, I saw your name here on the screen. Shoot me an email, and if we don't know the answer, we investigate for you. So anyways, here I have my simulation ready. And as you can see, there is a deformation. It's still telling me that is adjusted. So if I press actual, it shows the actual deformation, which is not a lot. And it's not showing me any problems. I don't see any areas in orange or in red, probably because I only put, you know, 5 pounds. I didn't put a lot, and this thing is made of steel. So, but at least you guys can have an idea. And I'm locking here and I'm locking there. So of course, what's gonna bend are the booms where the engine is. So I just want to show you how to do simulation, because on the last webinar we did simulation. We did a CAM simulation for you to see how to create a part in CAM. And I said simulation. I want to make sure I did both simulations, CAM simulation and stress and study simulation. So hopefully we got both of that and answered that question. Thank you, Lucas, for jumping in. And there is another question. What is the question? Would you recommend an Autodesk printer? We don't have a printer. We used to have the Ember, but we do not have a printer. So I don't recommend a specific printer, no. To be honest with you, I have not built this drone yet myself. I'm dying to do it. That's gonna be like my end of the year gift for myself. I'm gonna try to make this because sure Eli got me hooked on it. He said I should buy the goggles to have like first person view when I'm flying. He said it's the best feeling ever. So he got me hooked up, and I need to do this. So I do not recommend a printer because we don't have one. Sorry. What else? I think we kind of answer all the questions here.
I think going back to the printer, I would say that to print your own quadcopter, like the frame that Fab has on the screen right now, really you just want to make sure that the print that is large enough to actually print that in one piece, assuming that that's what you want to do. It's simple enough geometry because it's all flat that you can probably get away with using a slightly lower quality printer and still getting those results. It's when you get into crazy overhangs and really, really tiny pieces, right. That's when it helps having a more expensive machine.
And I'm thinking the fuselage would have to be printed in 2 parts, right? And
yeah.
I bet, yeah. And this part here that you see on the screen, I keep thinking this should be machined somehow. I wish I could do that in carbon fiber. I really wish, but I can't. I don't know. I have to talk to Eli a little bit better about this. And I just did, I was already, you know, getting his professional feedback for the webinar to make sure I told you guys everything the way he imagined. And he really, really said that he wants everybody to create their own. Please, guys, share your drones on the gallery, on the Fusion 360 gallery. I would love to see what you guys created with this. If we don't have any more questions, that's what I have for today. Please, please, please email if you guys have questions that did not get answered tonight. I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate Lucas. Thank you so very much, all the way from Boston, right? Are you in Boston today?
Absolutely. No, I'm in Philly today.
Do you know where you are? So all the way from Philly. Here I am from Indiana. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And hopefully we always have webinars going on for you, but hopefully I will be here for the next one soon to join you. And have a great night, everyone.